Hey, so this is the first video here in the series. Hello, YouTube. I'm doing a class here on the island of Kauai. I really appreciate all of you coming, and I really appreciate you being here. I had some friends about a few weeks ago that were like telling me, yeah, I'm trying to make the kefir and I put sugar in it. And I'm like, oh, God. And then Rachel was like, oh, I made this kefir and the lid blew off. And I'm like, okay, we need to have a cultured food class. I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years now, ever since I met Lou Corona, making the coconut almond yogurt. And since then, the journey into culturizing, fermenting foods, and that led into the most recent research into the microbiome of human beings and how that's, we've always been talking about cellular health and health of the cells, right? Well, there's, whatever, 10 trillion cells, the number always changes. But there's actually 10 times more microorganisms in your body. So you're just like you're like a bag full of bacteria, And so as we begin to progress down this road of understanding the microbiome, you can be rest assured that these fermented and cultured foods using the various cultures that they've been studying for actually about 100 years now was when the very first culture, Lactobacillus acidophilus, which everyone's heard of, began to be researched. And they started looking at, they just extracted it, but they had no idea. Now they're just finding out 100 years later. They isolated it, but now they're understanding what these different microorganisms do inside the human organism. And so we've all seen, parasites, fungus, yeast, but the thing is, look at what's happening in our society. Like, we're not doing well, especially America, Australia, and Great Britain. In other words, what I call the whitest of the white people, Okay? We're just getting further and further away from nature. You know what I'm saying? And so, and all the things that we're doing, as far as like one of the worst things that we're doing right now is turning birth into a medical procedure. Look at how the animals do it. The boom, boom. There's certain things that happen during a natural vaginal birth that do not happen during a C-section. Now, C-section is, important in emergency situations, but now it's like, oh, it's all out of convenience. Sterilize the baby, sterilize everything, close the windows, the drafts will kill you. So they're cutting off the oxygen, they're cutting off the microorganisms from the earth. Everyone's wearing shoes, there's concrete everywhere, it's all sterilized. Oh my God. So what we're finding out is that the white people, which is just, my quick way of saying those of us who have been separating ourselves more and more through our ignorance and technology and industrialism, we're getting more and more sterilized, more and more paranoid of the very things that actually give us life. Those microorganisms actually produce the enzymes which make our life possible. And so trying to get back to nature and also trying to, inoculate ourselves. What I found to be very interesting is that some of the indigenous cultures have 1/3 more different types of microorganisms living in their body. And within the microbiome there's the esophageal microbiome, the respiratory microbiome, the vaginal microbiome, the fecal microbiome, the skin microbiome. Those are just subsections of the total microbiome within a human being. And so what I'm doing in my personal experience right now is doing everything I can to remove, Lord have mercy, this is a lot for today, but anyways, biofilms are very common. Vaccines, then the dairy products. The vaccines lower the immune system. I don't care what anyone says. I've studied health my entire life. I care only about the truth. I'm not here to make a buck off selling pharmaceuticals. So my hand is not in the cookie jar. And all of society's hand is in the pharmaceutical cookie jar. So it's like, oh, I can't, no, it's safe and effective. And all that. But I am here for my own temple. This is my temple. It needs to be as on point to contain that which I love with all my heart and all my mind and all my soul. So I don't stop. You're orthorexic. No, there are levels of purity in the heart, in the stomach, in the mind. Don't get me wrong. My thoughts go all over the place. My heart has its habits. And so does my stomach, the microbiota that are living in my GI tract. Now the question is, and we know that what you eat affects your microorganisms and it affects your microbiota, your microbiome. But what I'm wondering is, and I haven't found any information on this, and this may be the cutting edge, I'm a thinker, I get all my ideas in the bathtub. I wonder if the microbiome that we're born with through our mother is calibrating us to some kind of environmental desire to give us the best possible benefit by calibrating us to what she's going through. And that's why I think it's so important for the mothers, for me to teach the mothers. Screw the adults, I've given up on all of you. We're so emotionally attached to our programming that we can't just clear it away and say, see, because I'm like getting that way with more like vegetarian versus vegan versus the paleo. It's like, okay, like I'm still a vegan, raw vegan. It works for me. I have a specific mission. I don't care if I turn into a toothpick, as long as God just fills me up and I overflow. It doesn't matter what this body's like. I'm not going to be judged on my body anymore. I'm going to be judged by the energy that I bring, like coming into this house and the whole place is 5 times as clean as it was, just because that's how I carry the clean vibe with me. You know, and everyone carries a vibration. What are you bringing? You know? And are those microorganisms living inside you a part of that vibration that you're giving off into the world? And if they are on a negative side, what are you going to do to clean those up? What you're thinking, what you're feeling affects the expression, I believe. So I think that if you're having a bad vibe of greed, guilt, and shame, you may be attracting and opening yourself up to microorganisms that are less than beneficial. So that's why we keep going back to the answer to everything, which is love. Because the love is going to burn out anything that ain't straight on point, and it's going to bring in everything, and those are going to flourish. And so you're going to be that walking bag of bacteria that are associated with the vibration of love. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to clean these people up because we've got an association with the gut bacteria with autism. We've got an association with the irritable bowel syndrome. The genetically modified foods are pulling everyone's tight junctions apart, and everyone's getting like leaky gut in some small way or another. It progresses as you get older unless you get this thing on point and seal everything up, tighten it up, and get those cells in your body that are inside your GI tract to be only absorbing the micronutrients and not the macronutrients of blood. I mean, not blood, but I mean, well, that could be one thing too, but anything that's fermenting, or the excess proteins or the excess fats leaking through the gut wall, going into the brain, creating inflammation, microcapillary occlusion, and all the things that we're doing. I mean, this trail goes insane, you know? And I can't even, it would take me like a 6-hour video to be able to share with you everything that I'm so excited about, the potential that we have to help the children, to help the future mothers. Like I said, some of the adults with their whole thing, they're so stoned up in their thinking, they're not open to anything new. The doctors are like the worst. Oh, I didn't learn that in medical school. It can't have anything to do with what's real. Diet. Diet has nothing to do with health. Take these drugs. I got to go make my Mercedes payment. No offense, there's good doctors out there, but we can have the conversations here, and I can speak about the things that they can't. Because guess what? I don't, thank the Lord, I am not certified anything. I'm a certified, tell the truth, Google PhD, baby. Can you dig it? So I don't have any status quo. I can talk about vaccines. They can't. No one can talk about that. Oh, they're safe and effective. But I don't give my kids those. Oh, really? How about the freaking cancer treatments? Would you give your wife that? I wouldn't give my wife that chemotherapy neither. Well, then why are you giving it to my wife? fool. We got to stop this madness. I'm on a mission because I care about people, but I care about myself. I'm selfish. I want to live. Now, I'm past all that. But I'm just saying we're all an effect of it, of the things that were going on in the 70s and the 60s and the 50s. And those things are passing on, those viruses that are being created in laboratories. I mean, then here's the tinfoil hat thing. I know that we just came here to learn about cultured foods, but this all does tie in eventually how we have become weak. Our appendix. Oh, just cut it out. We don't even know what it's for. Your appendix is where all of that excess or that useful bacteria is stored in case there's a blowout like diarrhea, or you go to India and you eat the wrong thing, you have a blowout and it's all cleaned out. Then the appendix says, is that done now? You done pooping? And the appendix goes poof. And then hopefully you've got some prebiotics so that those probiotics, those microorganisms can feed. Well, what do you eat? White sugar, white rice, white everything with no fiber? No, man, I'm talking about fruits and vegetables. It all ties in. You know, fruits and vegetables. That's what everyone can agree on, the vegetables. So whether you're paleo or vegan, but nobody wants to go there. I've been saying it for years, fruits and vegetables. I know that fruits give people a hard time, but that's because we're so messed up. The occlusions to the pancreas and the occlusions to all the different glands and organs. And so you have to design your diet according to all the things that happen to you, because if you were living and you had the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, the liver, the pancreas, and everything was just awesome because your mom and your grandma's grandma was eating the dirty food out of the garden, and maybe small amounts of animal products, but you surely would not want to be eating all these processed, industrialized, chemical-laden foods that are coming in cans, boxes, and plastic, and all the stuff that goes along with that. So it does tie in, and that's why I'm saying, you know, I'm just trying to get what's real. This came out of the ground this morning. So not only do you have the living hydrogen, which feeds you on the top end, the hydrogen is absorbed, which is concentrated sunlight. That's the electricity that feeds your brain the higher levels of consciousness, so you can be like, well, I love Jesus. This light, what is this light? How can I find it? Where is it? And then it's like, look, find it inside yourself. Oh my God. Then you start to sit and you go into the jungle and you just sit there, you know, as much as you can. And then you watch, oh, my nervous system's really wonky, you know. I need to get my nerves and my GI tract and get all that inflammation and all those heavy metals out of my body so I can sit still and find the treasure. Well, then on the bottom end, you've got the fibers in here that are going to ferment and feed those probiotics that are living right here on top of this, because hopefully there's microbes in the soil that are coming up onto the plants, and then you're eating those plants. And what I don't find, though, very often, until I went over to Adam's house, Ashelia's boyfriend, he's putting probiotics in the soil. Guess what? Adam's like, oh, I put these probiotics in the soil. He gave me the rundown, about an hour-long speech, and I'm like, holy crap, dude. Legit. And then he handed me a piece of his turmeric. Word. That got you high. You took the shot, you got high. Because that is alive, and it had the dirt on it because I didn't rinse it off too much. But the other thing was the turmeric is usually kind of, you know, sharp and a little bit earthy. But this turmeric tasted like a carrot. He was like, no, take a bite, bro. I was like, whoa, that's the different kind of turmeric. He's putting probiotics in the soil. Word. Because we're just not, it's not like that. We're not, unless you're really awake to the light and that condensing itself down into life, then you can see the whole system, and you want a lot of microbes in your soil so that the plants are alive, you get those in you, you become alive, your immune system goes through the roof. So as the months and years roll on, I can't possibly do it all here because I could literally be here 3 hours later telling you all these different things, starting from the day that you were born with the hepatitis B shot, all the way until all the You got to aerate because you ate too much of that crap dairy that they grow. I mean, some raw dairy is one thing. 99% of it isn't that. But the problem is all the crap's coming down anyway, so even if it's grass-fed, the runoff, the human poop that they're putting back into everything, the stuff coming out of the sky, I mean, it's like you can be kind of paranoid. Thank God we live in Kauai. Word. But I'm just saying, this stuff bioaccumulates, so it's a different world. You got to be on point. You might not get all the same animal products that you could at one time, and you got to be more savvy. I think if anything, I know this will put the vegans' panties way up over their head, but the vegetables, the fruits, the nuts, and the healthier meats, you know. I was like going to the allergy thing. I can't even do that right now on this quick video because this is our introduction to the class. But so, man, there's a lot to this. And I just want to make sure that you are getting the download. You all look very healthy. But we can improve by improving all the different areas of our microbiome by utilizing different lifestyle techniques. Now today, obviously, this is the company that I work for, very happily. My favorite company on planet Earth. They're my family, they're my friends, they're amazing people. They love God, they love the truth. They're just never going to water down their products like a lot of other enzyme companies. They care, and that matters a lot. Just like the farmers. This guy grows beets, he doesn't give a crap because his dad gave him the farm and now he just does it to make a living. This person over here became a farmer because they love it. There's a big difference in the vibration. Just like there's a big difference in the vibration of these the purity of these probiotics and enzymes. So the probiotics here that I like to use to culture the foods, that's just one small wedge of the pie of which I'm going to teach. But it's one of the quickest, easiest, funnest, and most purest ways to inoculate yourself. Because the 5 strains that are in the Lifebiotic that I use are, number one, some of the most well-studied, and beneficial microorganisms. There's thousands. We don't even have a clue. I can guarantee you that you can get these guys on here, and I watch tons and tons of lectures on YouTube, but I can guarantee you we're barely at the forefront of this, what we're going to be learning in the next years ahead, and it's always going to be that way, and that's what's exciting. Because, you know, when we get up here and we have the big YouTube ego, we know it all, and then it's like you realize that what I knew a year ago or two was just not even as helpful as what I know now, and what's it going to be like in a year. So you can just be on this cutting edge sharing this information with people about how this stuff that's going on in our guts is making a huge difference, because the doctors don't even think about that. And so our medical establishment, that's what it is. It's not health, because nobody's promoting health. I'm promoting health today for you guys and everyone else watching these videos. So this is kefir, and this is one of my favorite things in the world. And this is a week old right here, and this here, if we all listen, this is the thick milk kefir. That's alive. Those organisms, I left a little air in there. It actually has expanded quite a bit. But this is about a week and a half old. Magnificent. Cultured, but with the purity of the probiotics from PURADYME, you know, which were, by the way, just rated A+++ rating by Mike Adams, and it's very difficult in today's day and age to get that. Mike Adams, the health ranger, and he looks at all these because he wants to just get to the truth about what's going on. You know, these rice proteins from China are just like laden with arsenic and lead, and it's like you're just eating and poisoning yourself. Now China's got a little something against us, so you don't want to really get nothing from China. Because we are the ones, if they can get, we got our government pouring metals into us, we got their government. It's like you got to be on point with these heavy metals, because they will take you out, and they will latch onto receptor sites and start shutting things down. So it's all about avoiding heavy metals, which is like super impossible, but the things in your teeth. And all this does affect the microbiome inside your body. And so, like I said, I'm going for the future mothers. I'm going to be giving out information that says, how do you create a super baby? Avoid everything in the Western paradigm and go back to the dirt, go back to love, simplicity, real food. You know, just the whole thing with like going in, I got to go see this specialist and this specialist and then this one and then all this stuff. And it should be something real simple. But if you are eating the standard diet, then your reproductive or your vaginal cavity gets tight because it's so inflammatory. When you have these alkaline minerals, whoop, there you go, baby. You know, you got still hanging there on with the little umbilical cord, and you keep that. You keep that placenta, you keep that umbilical cord, and you let it fall off by itself. And you want to shoot for a vaginal birth every single time because that is the key. On that day, when you pass out, a little embarrassing, when you pass out for the young lady.
I'm not going to be able to drink any of that kefir after that.
Well, this isn't the same. This is the healing and the regeneration of the vaginal microbiome, which obviously Ronnie and I and you and Mammoth, we don't have that. That's important because when that baby comes out, you inoculate their face, their ears, their respiratory system. And so if you have to have a cesarean section when it's, you know, if it's an emergency, then you want to take a gauze and you know, and plant it inside of, this is just for the people out there, the future mothers. You plant that gauze inside there and you take that gauze out after 20, 30 minutes or an hour, and you take that out and you dab it on the baby's face if you have to have an emergency cesarean section. But you always shoot for the vaginal birth, and the way that you do that is make sure your diet is predominantly raw living foods, highly alkalinizing foods, so that your bones and all that, those tissues down there will open up really wide. I know that's not really what anyone's saying here, but I'm just feeding off this information so that needs to get out there for real, because about 1/3 of our births are cesarean section, not just out of convenience. A small percentage of them are for emergency, you know? And that's too bad because those poor kids, you know? And I'm one of them. And so is one of my daughters. And so that's why I plug her in with the probiotics. I've got a recipe for her, and I'm going to be dedicating a video to her so she can just keep these 5 strains here are just, they're immune boosters. The beauty of these 5 strains right here in this particular Lifebiotic is that they're all associated with health in the vaginal microbiome, which is really, really an important one. So is the respiratory, the whole thing. So you're just eating dirty foods, you're playing in the dirt, you're taking off your shoes, you know, you're not wearing a shirt, you're just rolling around out in nature on Earth, and that's why we're all so much healthier. And that's why when you come here to this island, the place, it rips you to pieces because you're getting all these microorganisms that you never even had before on the mainland, and it's totally transforming you from the inside out. And there's a war going on inside of you for these ones that are beneficial, life-giving, and illuminating, that are destroying the virus and stuff that you picked up through the different sexual partners that you've had and all the different things that you've been through in your life with all the medical antibiotics and everything like that have weakened and created these biofilms all throughout your body. So now you got to dissolve the biofilms. I mean, it's a whole huge thing. And so what does this have? This is just a simple little way to inoculate and to boost the immune system and to make sure that you're absorbing your food properly. These are just house cleaners. And so what we're trying to do is just get them past, that's why we do the yogurts. We want to get them past the stomach acid and into the small and large intestine. The small intestine, it used to be inflammation in just in the large colon. And then we cut your colon out and you'd have to poop into a bag the rest of your life. Well, don't do that. And I've met people like that. That is some sad stuff. And that's what I hope to, through these videos, is just, oh my God, if I could save one person from having to poop into a bag the rest of their life, I have done my job. Don't let them cut anything out of you. Unless it's an absolute emergency. That's the thing. If you get your arm cut off, do not go to a YouTube video from Dan McDonald and say, what kind of juice should I drink? Go to the hospital, get your arm sewn back on, and then come out and find out what you need to do to regenerate and get the hell out of there before they try and fill you up full of all their stuff. Well, you need this, and then you're worse off than you were. Emergency medicine is awesome, thank God, and I love the doctors that work in emergency medicine because I've needed it myself. But a lot of the emergency medicine is because of what they did in the beginning to us. By lowering our immune system and shoving us full of antibiotics every chance we got because we got the little sniffles. Word. Okay. So that's why we want to make sure we're taking care of ourselves on every level. And so the key for here, you all came to learn about this cultured food, but that was just that introduction, that excitement, the reason why I'm so passionate about making sure that's why I drink this stuff as much as possible all the time, this kefir. So what do I do to make kefir? I open up some coconuts. These are little poppers today. Normally what I'll do is I'll take my Epic, and I will hopefully use this later today when we go to make some yogurt. But for now, these little poppers are good. And the little poppers make really good kefir, actually. A little bit lower sugar. And so like I said, my friend was like, yeah, I put sugar in the kefir. And I was like, no, oh, Lord have mercy, you don't need it. It's already there. You don't need anything. That's what's so simple about this. And there's different kinds of kefir. And the reason why I like to talk about the coconuts is because everyone's using the dairy kefir and stuff like that. But then there's so many problems associated with the modern dairy. It's not like it used to be. Like I said, the bioaccumulation. It's not cool. And the antibiotics. Now that's just the dairy that they're doing. That is the the unhealthy dairy, the big factory farms. But then there's even the small dairy, and then there's issues with that, like just proteins being too large and that type of thing. You know, the cows grow super fast. You don't grow that fast. You know, goat's milk would be a better option. I'm just not. I do see more, like when I study the bonobos, I see, hey, the bonobos and the chimpanzees, they do eat a little bit of animal products. Anywhere from 2 to maybe 10% of their diet. 3%?
3 minutes.
Oh, okay, awesome, thank you. So, that's cool. But they don't eat any of the starchy grains, which I find to be super allergenic for a lot of people. I do a lot of research. Eggs are pretty allergy producing in a lot of people. Dairy is probably the top allergy producer. It's just you can't digest those proteins. They're too large, and they clog up your respiratory system and everything else, and then you're just in trouble, you know. Anyways, this is how you do it, and then just boom, it's like that. This is so easy. This is what inspired this whole class, and then I wanted to give my little deal out there because I think some people might pick up. There's going to be some people out there because thousands of people will see this video, and they'll pick up. There'll be some future mothers out there that lives we just changed because you guys were here being patient with me as I addressed those things, you know. So then they can get a hold of me and console. I can make other videos and stuff like that because I'm all about the babies that aren't here yet. Because there's population control is what's going on. And that's the whole underlying thing. And people are like, oh, it's all about the money. Not really. That's a secondary thing. That's how they keep control of everything. That's how everyone's got their hand in the cookie jar and they just, I don't know, I can't, no, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at what's really going on and why we're all so, you know, there's so many health issues out there. Who has perfect health? Absolute perfect health in this room. Does anyone have like little things come up here and there and little wonkies? Yeah? Yeah, every single one of us. Not one person raised their hand. Like, there is a perfect radiant health, and you actually want to program your mind with that. I am perfectly radiantly healthy, and that will guide you on this path, and you'll be like, you'll keep moving towards the light. You'll do whatever the hell it takes, and if everyone thinks you're nuts, it doesn't really make any difference. You're doing what you need to do. It doesn't matter. And there's so many things that we can do. Fasting, no one wants to talk about that. Vaccines, no one wants to talk about that. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about everything that we can. It's done. Okay, well, cool. That is, so I'll do another video. So let's stop that one. And let me see something here real quick. How that, oh, sweet, sweet, sweet. Perfect. Yeah, thank you. And thank you.